We're getting to the latest trade buzz on 49ers wide receiver Jauan Jennings. He either wants to get traded or he wants a new contract. Could the 49ers come to a resolution? Are they going to give him a long-term deal? Are they going to ship him away? All of that coming up. On the back half of the show, we're going to go through 5 Niners players who are entering make or break years in 2025. This is the 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Happy Friday, everybody, and I hope all of you are getting set to have an awesome weekend. Let's do a rival check-in before we dive into the show. This is a look at how many subscribers the 49ers Report has gained, in addition to our Cowboys channel and Seahawks channel here at Chat Sports. I never want to lose. I'm never scared to compete, and I always want to rack up dubs. You should too. 49ers Report here in the month of July. 386 new subscribers. That's great, but that only means that we're 2 subs ahead of the Dallas Cowboys Report. I want to annihilate them, and I want to continue to lengthen our lead on Seahawks today. 192 new subs in July. Let's just continue to dominate here inside the walls of Chat Sports. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go. As for the latest trade buzz on Jauan Jennings, we start there. This has been the biggest storyline of the week for San Francisco as training camp gets underway on Tuesday, July 22nd. Of course, on July 15th, Niners rookies reported, but they're not doing any on-field drills. They're just doing some strength and conditioning to get ready for training camp, get acclimated with now being NFL players. And, of course, another big story of the week, second-round pick Alfred Collins signing his contract on Wednesday night, after he did not report on Tuesday alongside his fellow rookies. But number 15 here, Jauan Jennings, really taking center stage for Niners discussion this week. And there was this report from Adam Schefter this week that several teams have already inquired about Jauan Jennings' availability, but the 49ers said they have no desire in trading the wide receiver. Of course, the Niners understand his value. They know what Jennings brings to the table. And I think that they can easily come to an agreement or a resolution to figure things out for just 2025 by giving him a pay increase or maybe beyond with a contract extension. But this is why I think the San Francisco 49ers should sign Jauan Jennings to a contract extension. Going into 2025, they have major question marks at wide receiver. We're not sure when Brandon Ayuk is going to return and get healthy from that knee injury last year. Demarcus Robinson could get suspended because of that DUI arrest last November. Ricky Pearsall has a second hamstring injury in as many seasons. Then you're relying on guys like Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins, who are big unknowns at the wide receiver position. I also think that with what Jennings brings to the table, at a position where the market has been exploding in recent years as far as player contracts, he will be very affordable. I think the price tag for Jennings is between $11 and $15 million per year, and I think that's great value. We saw last year with all of the injuries on this Niners offense, second most injured offense in the NFL, that Jennings developed a great rapport with Brock Purdy. Why is that important? Because you just locked up Purdy to be your franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future. Why not surround him with weapons who he plays well with? You did it with George Kittle. Do it with Jauan Jennings. Jennings also embodies San Francisco's culture. Tough, rugged, loves ball. I know he plays wide receiver, but he's not dramatic. He doesn't take the social media to post cryptic messages. Hello, Brandon Ayuk. And he just loves getting down and dirty, getting it out of the mud. And he's improved every year that he's been in the NFL. So he's a great player developmental story for San Francisco as well. I also think that his game will age well. He just turned 28 years old. He's never been a fast and twitchy guy. He's tall, has good size, good catch radius, makes contested catches, an incredibly clutch player. He can go up and get it. He's a great run blocker. Receivers in that receiver room look at him to lead. All these things are important, and it's not like he's on the other side of 30. I think that with his physicality and the lack of speed, he's had to prove and he's had to win by being tough, by being physical, not getting a lot of separation, so he wins with body control, with sound hands, with being able to use his body to box out corners, to open up a throwing window for Brock Purdy, I think is going to continue to be really good, and I think that he can continue to get better in his NFL career. I know that there are a lot of people saying, Chase, Jauan Jennings had one good year. He is not worth paying right now. It's yet another wide receiver who's trying to make noise and getting a contract extension. Let me counter that with this. Have all of his clutch plays and moments been worth it in the biggest of games when the pressure cooker is on throughout the playoffs and in the regular season throughout his entire Niners career? That answer is a resounding yes. Whether it's the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, divisional round, NFC wild card, when the Niners are fighting for their playoff lives in the regular season, there's been a constant. At wide receiver, the Niners have always been able to trust and rely on Jauan Jennings. And with what his value has been, Jauan Jennings has been an underpaid player for San Francisco. Former 7th-round pick, wasn't even on the 53 as a rookie. He's steadily progressed every year that he's been in the NFL. Last year, he played for $7+ million. This year, under contract for $7+ million. But last year, was he worth more than that? No doubt about it. And the Niners have some pressure on them because of what the situation is at wide receiver. Last year, Ayuk signed for $30 million. Started the year, looked out of shape, bad attitude, tore his ACL, MCL, and had other structural damage in that knee. His return, a question mark. Jauan Jennings now has requested a trade or he wants a new contract. Ricky Pearsall, kind of catching a stray here, shot 11 months ago. That doesn't really have anything to do with it. But what I will say, he's had a shoulder subluxation. He has now had 2 hamstring issues. And there are injury concerns with him outside of the gunshot wound. With DeMarcus Robinson, he is facing a potential DUI suspension. It could range between 3 and 5 games. And then you have Jacob Cowan kind of catching strays here, too, for just being a smaller guy at 5'9", 172. He was great throughout the spring, but he hasn't done anything in the regular season, and he is an unknown commodity. So what? Big question marks at the wide receiver position for San Francisco. The only non-question mark as far as the player is Jauan Jennings. Now, according to reports, as we advance these conversations, the 2 teams really being mentioned the most as the top Jennings suitors, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both have needs at the wide receiver position. Pittsburgh also just paid TJ Watt on top of signing Aaron Rodgers, trading for Jalen Ramsey, trading for Jonnu Smith, trading for DK Metcalf. They have one of the oldest teams in the NFL. Mike Tomlin has never had a year below 500. But for Pittsburgh, the time to win is right now, and they don't really have a number 2 wideout. And so Jennings reminds a lot of people inside that organization of the great Hines Ward. They value tough, rugged, physical players like that. Jennings fits that bill. And you look at the current situation with the Steelers right now, DK Metcalf, one of the top wide receivers in the game. Emotional? For sure. Does Deommodore Lenoir get under his skin? No doubt about it. He's a great player, though. But outside of him, Calvin Austin is their number 2. He's like 5'8" on a good day. Roman Wilson is a shorter wide receiver who last year barely played because of injuries after being a 3rd-round pick out of Michigan. And then you have Jonnu Smith, who's a tight end type of wide receiver hybrid. Outside of that, an old, dusty, cooked Robert Woods. Ben Skoranek is also another receiver on that roster. You get the point. Steelers could really use a player like Jauan Jennings. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're not in a position where they feel pressure to win now, but they have made a lot of win-now moves. Hiring Pete Carroll, win-now move. Hiring general manager John Spytek, win-now move. Trading for Geno Smith, win-now move. Drafting a running back inside the top 10, win-now move. Paying Max Crosby, win-now move. They are trying to, at the very least, be competitive right from the jump. Those moves are not building for the future. They are trying to be competitive immediately in 2025. And their wide receiver situation, one of the worst in the league. Jacoby Myers is their number 1. Trey Tucker is their number 2. And then the rookie out of Tennessee, Dante Thornton Jr., just appeared on the Raiders report here at Chat Sports. He's wide receiver 3. They drafted Jack Beck. That's cool and all. They drafted Tommy Millott, a converted quarterback from FCS football at Montana State, I believe. But the Raiders wide receiver situation is not good either. You think they could use Jauan Jennings? For sure. And when teams are desperate, we know that sometimes when they are desperate, they will overpay in a trade as far as compensation goes. So I think the Niners could get 4th-round pick, 5th-round pick for Jauan Jennings, maybe a player in there to fulfill a need for San Francisco. I also want to add another team to the list of Jauan Jennings destinations that I discussed earlier this week. How about the Miami Dolphins? Mike McDaniel, head coach, has familiarity with Jauan Jennings, and I think he is, alongside Brian Daboll, one of the coaches who's on one of the hottest seats in the NFL going into this year. If the Dolphins flounder, no pun intended, I think McDaniel gets canned. Now, their wide receiver situation is a lot better than the aforementioned Steelers and Raiders. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle. That's one of the top wide receiver duos in the NFL. I don't think they have a good quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, and he has major question marks around his health. But Jauan Jennings as their wide receiver 3, why I would like that fit for him, he gives Miami a completely different look, player, and play style than what Waddle and Tyreek Hill bring to the table. So Adam Schefter saying that multiple teams across the NFL interested in Jennings. Right now, the Niners saying they don't have any plans to trade him, but that could always be a flex to try to increase his value. Where will Jauan Jennings play in 2025? That is today's poll question. What say you? Either type SF for the Niners or list the team that you think he plays for down in the comment section right now. So we talked about Jauan Jennings and the latest trade buzz around him. Coming up, 5 Niners entering make or break seasons here this year. First, I want to tell you about this great, phenomenal deal. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. You know, in Northern California, it can get a little bit chilly, even during the summer. And then, of course, in the fall and winter, moderate temperatures. And it really depends on where you live. If you're by the bay, it can definitely get chilly with the fog coming in and the cold weather coming in off the water. Even if you're inland, it can get a little bit chilly from time to time. That's why this Niners cutoff hoodie is perfect for all of you. And if you're a Niner fan, you'll look fresh, feel good, and look good. It's a great deal. This hoodie was $55. Now it's on sale for just $33. Limited time only, though. You can get it today by using that link down below, chatsports.com/49ers cutoff. That'll take you to our friends at Fanatics. I'll put that link down below in the show notes and attach to the pinned comment of today's SAN-FRAN-CISCO 49ers report. All right, coming up now. Here are 5 players for the San Francisco 49ers going into 2025 who are entering make or break seasons. Number 1, wide receiver Jauan Jennings. He told the Niners, you either pay me a new deal and give me a new contract or trade me. Well, if Jauan Jennings doesn't get a new deal, he has a wonderful opportunity to really prove himself and solidify himself as a top 25 wide receiver in football in 2025. He only has one great year of production. That's probably why the Niners are reluctant to give him big money. They understand his value. But if Jennings really wants to get that bag, he's going to have to go out there and have another productive season. And if he does, he can set himself up for a huge payday next offseason. Number 2, right tackle, Colton McKivitz. He is an interesting player on this Niners roster because this fan base, they can go both ways on him. A majority of this fan base, they think that he stinks. I think he's somewhere in that okay to average to sometimes good range. He'll never be great. But McKivitz is entering the final year of his deal. He did improve year over year from 2023 to 2024, and he's never going to get top of the market money. But if Mike McGlinchey a couple of years ago from the Denver Broncos got, $17, $18 million per year, Colton McKivitz, who's made chump change compared to Mike McGlinchey, can stand for a big pay raise if he plays pretty well this year, because the offensive tackle market has been buzzing and teams will be willing to pay a solid tackle. Shoot, Aaron Banks, okay player, sometimes good, got $19 million per year from the Green Bay Packers, and he plays guard. If McKivitz plays very sound football and protects the front side for Brock Purdy here this year, he'll get paid either by the Niners or somebody else. Number 3, Dee Winters. Dee Winters has an opportunity to solidify and lock down a starting linebacking role alongside Fred Warner. And this is a big year for him because of that. He had a really big offseason, according to linebackers coach Johnny Holland. It's time for him to put it all together. I love the play style. Love how quickly he plays, how fast he plays, the physicality in which he plays with. Last year, he had an 80 coverage grade at the linebacker position. One of the highest gradings for any linebacker in football. That ranked 6th among 189 off-ball linebackers. Now, that came on a limited sample size. How will that translate to him playing for the entire year? If he plays well the entire year, he too can set himself up for a starting job, but also a contract as he enters the waning years of his rookie contract. Right now, this is what I think the Niners linebacker depth chart will look like. It's going to depend on what the coaching staff does as far as strong side linebacker, weak side linebacker, and where they see Nick Martin and Dee Winters in the plans there. But Dee Winters has a wonderful opportunity to really solidify himself as a really good player this year. Jason Pinnock, the safety, comes in at number 4 for me. Jason Pinnock said to Matt Mayoko a couple of weeks ago, I want to be an all-pro player, and I want to start for the Niners here in 2025. He has skills. Really good going downhill, good athlete, very long, has some height to him as well. And if you look at his sack, quarterback hits, and TFL numbers, really good numbers as a safety. It's not great in coverage, but you can hide players like that, like the Niners have done with Talanoa Hufanga. And a couple of years ago, Hufanga was a first-team all-pro player. And I think that Robert Saleh can utilize Jason Pinnock in that type of way. But if Pinnock plays well this year, he can really revive his career. He too can get paid after the Niners signed him to a 1-year contract. And I think he's going to be penciled in as the week 1 starter with Malik Mustafa coming off that ACL surgery next to Jair Brown. Jason Pinnock is a player whose skill set I really like. And he reunites with Saleh, who really liked him when he was drafted by the Jets back in, I believe, 2020. Number 5, Yetur Gross-Matos. I'm tired of talking about potential with Yetur Gross-Matos. I'm tired of talking about YGM as a guy who could break out. He was a second-round pick in 2020. The 6th pick in that second round by the Carolina Panthers out of Penn State. 6'5", 266 pounds, a wingspan of 82.25 inches. He is a freak athlete, but all he has been up to this point is potential. The Niners need him to produce this year. They gave him a nice little contract going into 2024. He had to deal with a knee injury that kept him off the field early in the year. Then it hampered him. I thought at times he played well. He could play a little DT. He can play a little defensive end. Right now, I'd say he's the next best backup defensive end after Bryce Huff. He's going to have some opportunities this year. The length, the athleticism, the skill set is there, but it's time for him to finally have that translate to production. And if it doesn't, his opportunity to really get consistent snaps for any team across the NFL might diminish. So which player has the most to prove? Which player has the most pressure on them this year heading into the 2025 season on this Niners roster? Drop me a name or names down below in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here for daily coverage of the Niners right here on the Niners Report.